Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack the ideas that really matter, giving you that shortcut to being genuinely well-informed.
And today we're diving into something quite timely, I think.
Definitely. You know that feeling, right?
Yeah.
The constant ping, the notifications, that always-on culture telling you, you have to be connected, always productive.
It's relentless.
It really is. It's this subtle but constant pressure. And it leaves so many of us feeling just drained, fragmented even, maybe further away from what actually gives us peace.
Yeah, it's like this background hum of modern life, isn't it? Sort of a burnout culture.
Exactly. This nagging sense that you're missing something vital because you're just trying so hard to keep up.
Always chasing the next thing.
Right. And it makes you stop and think, what if there was something, maybe something ancient, some kind of time-tested wisdom that could be a real antidote to all this exhaustion?
A simple practice, maybe. Something radical.
Yeah, exactly. Something that could help you genuinely disconnect, truly recharge, and maybe rediscover what actually grounds you.
It's a powerful question. And honestly, it resonates so deeply today, doesn't it? In this hyper-digital, super noisy world we're in.
Totally.
That search for real peace, for just a moment of being present. It feels less like a luxury now, more like a necessity.
Yes.
We're all kind of looking for that off switch, but it feels harder and harder to find.
Absolutely. And that exact yearning, that search, is precisely why we're doing this deep dive today. We're looking at a book that promises that kind of transformation.
Okay.
It's called Stop in the Name of God, Why Honoring the Sabbath Will Transform Your Life.
Yeah.
And it comes from, well, a really unexpected voice.
Yeah.
The late author, Charlie Kirk.
Unexpected is definitely one word for it. And this book, it's not just sitting on shelves waiting. It's already a phenomenon.
It really is.
Yeah.
Even before its official release, which is set for December 9th, 2025, it just skyrocketed. Bestseller status on Amazon, particularly in the Christian and religion spirituality charts.
Driven purely by pre-orders, which is, pretty remarkable in itself. It shows just how much the core message is hitting home for people.
It does. But to really understand the intense interest around this book, we also have to acknowledge something very significant.
The author's passing.
Yes. The recent and frankly tragic passing of Charlie Kirk himself. September 10th, 2025. He was only 31.
So young. And his death has undeniably amplified the attention on what's now his final work. It's transformed the anticipation, hasn't it? It's become this significant cultural, maybe even spiritual moment.
For a lot of people, I think you're right. It feels less like just a book and more like a parting message.
Yeah.
And so our mission today really is to understand the powerful message inside this very anticipated title. We want to explore why it's captivating so many people right now, people from all sorts of backgrounds.
And uncover the insights it offers, right,
Yeah.
for navigating these complex lives we lead.
Exactly. We want to get to the heart of the message itself, see why it speaks to this universal human need, kind of irrespective of the author's wider public image or, any preconceived ideas we might have.
Right. So we're here to pull out the core ideas, trace the personal journey that apparently led to this book, and really look at the implications of its call for a different rhythm in our lives.
Yeah.
By the end of this, you should have a really clear sense of why this book is making waves, and maybe whether its insights could offer something valuable for your own life. A path to more peace, perhaps.
Okay, let's do it. Let's unpack this. To really get the essence of this book and its unique impact, we probably need to start with the man who wrote it.
Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk. He was, well, to put it mildly, a very prominent figure, often polarizing, certainly in American public life.
Definitely well known.
Very well known. As a conservative political activist, an author, a media personality, maybe his biggest achievement, the thing he was most known for, was co-founding Turning Point USA.
And he did that at just 18 years old, which is pretty remarkable.
It really is. And that organization, PPUSA, it grew incredibly fast, became this hugely influential youth movement, really shaping the political views of a lot of young Americans towards conservative ideas.
And he was a close ally of former President Trump, too, often called a youth whisperer for the right. Someone who seemed very adept at connecting with and influencing younger people.
And again, just 31 when he passed away. It's still hard to grasp.
It is. And his public profile, while it was certainly distinctive, often very confrontational.
That's fair to say.
Yeah. Kirk was known for his fiery rhetoric.
Yeah.
His presence in public discussions was unwavering and often, polarizing. Now, sources document pretty extensively that his public statements frequently included comments that many people described as incendiary,
Okay.
often labeled as racist and sexist. Critics argued his rhetoric promoted things like bigotry, intolerance, exclusions, stereotyping.
And understanding that public persona is important here, isn't
It's
it?
crucial
Yeah.
because it creates this really stark, almost jarring contrast with the message of his final book. The message seems so contemplative.
Yeah. Okay, so just to give everyone a clearer picture of his public commentary, and we're just reporting what's documented here, not endorsing anything. Let's look at a few examples from the public record.
Okay.
On the issue of race, for instance, there were comments he made questioning the qualifications of black pilots, customer service personnel too, I think.
Right. And he made assertions about, quote, prowling blacks targeting white people. That got a lot of attention.
It did. He also made remarks about several prominent black women, Joy Reid, Michelle Obama, Sheila Jackson Lee, Ketanji Brown Jackson, suggesting they were affirmative action picks.
And he elaborated on that, didn't he? Saying they, quote, had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously because, in his view, they lacked the, quote, brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously.
Strong words. And his views on gender, feminism, reproductive rights equally strong, often sparking huge controversy.
Very much so. He publicly advised women to reject feminism. There was that widely cited instance where he told women to submit to your husband, even using public figures as examples.
Right. And his stance on abortion was absolute. No exceptions, including for rape. He stated unequivocally the baby would be delivered.
And he didn't stop there. He advocated for, quote, Nuremberg-style trials for doctors working at gender-affirming clinics, calling for them immediately. These stances consistently put him right at the center of really intense cultural debates.
And then there's the issue of gun violence, also very contentious. Kirk articulated a view that essentially for Second Amendment rights to be protected, a certain cost was necessary.
Yeah, he said, quote, a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year was, quote, worth it. He described it as a prudent deal, even rational.
On immigration, he supported halting it, claimed America was at its peak when it had lower percentages of foreign-born people.
And he openly discussed what he called a great replacement strategy.
Yes, saying it was intended to replace white rural America with something different. And he believed this strategy was, quote, well underway every single day in our southern border.
His comments on Islam also drew significant backlash. He asserted things like, large dedicated Islamic areas are a threat to America.
And that Islam is not compatible with Western civilization. He even posted on social media saying, quote, Islam is the sword the left is using to slit the throat of America.
Right. And then in the realm of religion and politics, he held this very firm belief that there is no separation of church and state. He called it a fabrication, a fiction.
Made up by secular humanists, he said.
Exactly. And he actively promoted what's often called Christian nationalism. That's the belief system aiming to fuse national identity with Christian identity, arguing America is fundamentally a Christian nation and should be governed by Christian principles.
Though he himself rejected that specific label, Christian nationalist.
Right. He preferred to say he was a Christian and a nationalist.
Okay, so you've just heard this overview of Charlie Kirk, a figure known for this relentless, often confrontational public life, constantly in the political arena, the cultural battles. Given that context, the immediate question is, how could this same person turn his focus inward toward a message of quiet contemplation, spiritual renewal?
It's a huge contrast.
It really is. This stark dichotomy, this unexpected shift from constant debate to profound pause. That's precisely what makes Stop in the Name of God so fascinating. It's not just a book. It feels like a window into maybe a personal transformation.
Yeah.
Or at least universal human needs.
Yeah, it definitely sparks intellectual curiosity. It forces you to look beyond the political labels, the public persona we just described.
Right.
How does someone known for that kind of intense engagement arrive at a message of radical, tech-free disconnection, spiritual rest?
It's intriguing.
It really is. It doesn't feel like just a political statement or even just a religious one. It points to a personal journey that seems to have led to this very personal yet universal insight. It suggests that maybe the need for stillness, for quiet, actually transcends the very divides he often seemed to emphasize.
So what sparked this shift, or at least this particular focus for him? His own journey into observing the Sabbath apparently began back in 2021.
Okay, so a few years before his passing.
Yeah, he often talked about it starting with encouragement from a pastor friend, a personal nudge.
Oh, one close to him.
Exactly. This friend apparently saw the relentless pace of Kirk's life, the constant demands of his public role, and suggested that maybe intentionally setting aside a day for rest could be exactly what he needed, spiritually, personally, just to sustain that kind of schedule.
That makes sense. That initial encouragement seems key. And wasn't he also influenced by Dennis Prager, the conservative commentator?
Yes, that's right. Prager also talks and writes about the concept of a tech-free Sabbath rest, seeing it as vital for modern life. So Kirk was exposed to the idea from a couple of influential figures in his circle.
But it wasn't like an instant yes from him, was it?
No, not at all. He admitted. He initially questioned it. He even told his pastor friend, apparently, that keeping the Sabbath was a Jewish commandment that does not apply to Christians.
Oh, interesting. So there was some initial resistance, maybe even theological questioning?
Definitely. This internal wrestling with the tradition, wondering if it applied to his own faith, it adds a real layer of depth, I think. It shows this wasn't just a casual decision, not some superficial trend he jumped on.
Right. It suggests he genuinely grappled with it, had to overcome his own preconceptions, maybe his theological doubts, and just the ingrained habits of his incredibly demanding life.
Yeah. And it's also worth noting, the book itself is published by Winning Team Publishing.
Which was founded by Donald Trump Jr.
Right. So that places the book within a specific cultural political sphere, yet the message itself seems to aim for something much broader, more universal than just politics.
Yeah. That whole backstory, the initial skepticism, the grappling, then the full embrace it, makes you wonder, doesn't it? What did he discover that changed his mind so completely, that made him feel he had to share it in his final work?
Exactly. It suggests the power of the idea itself, maybe. That someone with such a strong, established perspective would make this kind of personal shift.
And then feel so compelled to share it as a kind of solution for these widespread modern problems. It suggests the benefits he found were so transformative they just outweighed his earlier reservations.
Which brings us right to the core of the book, Stop, in the Name of God. The central argument, the thesis, it really is positioned as a radical act of resistance in today's world.
How so?
Kirk argues that the Sabbath, the biblical day of rest, isn't just some dusty old religious tradition for one specific faith or time period. Instead, he presents it as a revolutionary act, a profoundly countercultural choice in our screen-obsessed, always-on, fast-paced world. He wants you to see it less as an obligation, more as an opportunity for liberation, actually.
So a rebellion. He frames Sabbath observance as a direct, intentional rebellion against busyness.
Exactly.
It's a conscious choice, a deliberate move to reclaim peace, reclaim your personal space, in a society that, as he points out pretty sharply, equates productivity with worth.
That's such a key insight. Think about it. Our sense of self-worth gets so tied up in how busy we are, right? How much we're achieving, how constantly connected we seem.
We wear exhaustion like a badge of honor sometimes.
We really do. And the book just directly challenges that whole idea.
Yeah.
It argues that true value isn't in relentless activity, but in intentional rest, reflection.
It's about creating a deliberate void almost, letting different thoughts, different connections emerge when you silence that constant hum of digital demands.
Finding the signal in all the noise.
Yeah, rediscovering what actually matters when the world stops shouting at you for a day.
And he details how doing this intentionally, setting aside just one day a week, a full 24 hours to disconnect.
Disconnect from everything, technology, politics, work.
Pretty much. Technology, the endless political chatter, work emails, the whole daily grind. He argues that by doing that, you can start to rediscover what truly matters in your life.
And it's not just about a temporary break, according to him.
No, he presents it as much more profound, a clear pathway to genuine connection, peace, and presence. Just imagine the quiet for a second. One day a week, no constant notifications buzzing, the political noise fades out, and instead, maybe you have real conversations, uninterrupted moments to think, or just peaceful time with loved ones.
What kind of clarity could come from that? What kind of restoration?
That's the promise. And this is where the book really taps into something universal, I think. That yearning we all feel, but maybe struggle to act on.
Yeah. Kirk positions the Sabbath not just as, a religious thing, but as a lifeline, a powerful tool to combat anxiety and foster genuine human connection in an age of digital noise.
He's explicit about it. The book promises to restore balance to your life, significantly cut down on anxiety and depression, and really nourish your soul.
And in a world just saturated with digital distractions, social media comparisons, rising mental health issues, that promise, restoration, real connection, deep inner peace. That sounds incredibly compelling.
It really does. It offers a structured, actionable framework to tackle some of the biggest modern problems we face.
And while the roots are clearly religious, ancient tradition, the message seems to stretch much further, doesn't it? Beyond one specific religious group or political camp.
Absolutely. That desire to unplug, to slow down, to engage meaningfully with our actual lives, find some real peace. That appeals to almost everyone, regardless of background or belief.
Yeah.
The book aims to show you how to achieve that, offering practical insights, a compelling framework for a healthier, more present way of living. It's like an invitation to just step off the treadmill for a bit. Breathe. Find a rhythm that nourishes you instead of depleting you.
It really speaks to that deep need for an escape from the constant pressure. And it offers a practical, structured way to find that peace that feels so elusive sometimes.
It feels not just timely, but almost essential right now.
Yeah. For anyone feeling overwhelmed, burned out, this book presents a clear path, a way to maybe reclaim your time, your inner quiet.
So how did Charlie Kirk actually do this? How did he live this message? What did his own Sabbath practice look like, especially given his demanding life?
Right, the practical side.
He described his observance very specifically. Quoting him directly, he said, "Every Friday night, I keep a Jewish Sabbath."
Jewish Sabbath. So Friday night to Saturday night.
Exactly. And he was apparently incredibly disciplined about it, treated it as sacred, non-negotiable time. From sundown Friday to sundown Saturday, he would physically turn off his phone.
Like completely off, not just silent mode.
Off and put away. In a drawer, so there was a mother-designated spot. He described it precisely. The world cannot reach me, and I get nothing from the world. It wasn't just a casual, do not disturb. It was total disengagement.
Wow. That takes commitment. And it wasn't just about not using the phone right. It was about what he did during that time.
Yes. It was about intentionally creating a different kind of space, a different kind of time. Those Sabbath hours were for rest. But not just passive rest, like vegging out. Active, restorative rest.
What do you mean?
Hours spent in deep Bible reading, thoughtful prayer, personal writing.
Things that nourished him spiritually.
Exactly. And he and his wife would apparently sometimes take long walks together during Sabbath, consciously using that time for quality connection, uninterrupted conversation, just being present with each other, no digital distractions allowed.
So it was about stopping work, yes, but also engaging in things that fed his soul, strengthened his relationships.
A comprehensive, intentional disengagement from the digital and the secular world, like a weekly detox.
And what did he say the results were? For him personally.
Profound, apparently. He found the practice deeply restorative, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually. He called it a gift to mankind.
The gift to mankind. That's strong.
Yeah. Something he felt was so powerful, he had to share it. He personally advocated that adopting a tech-free Sabbath would significantly reduce anxiety and depression, that it would generally improve the health and resilience of American families.
Imagine the ripple effect of that, if widely adopted. Stronger bonds, maybe a deeper sense of community well-being.
His own experience seems like a powerful testament to the book's core claims.
And what's really fascinating is how his approach kind of bridged traditions, didn't it?
How so?
Well, he adopted the traditional Jewish Sabbath timing, Friday evening to Saturday evening, that emphasis on a complete break, a separation from the regular week.
Right.
But he integrated that timing with his own Christian spiritual practices, Bible reading, prayer in a Christian context. He saw this ancient practice as a powerful antidote to modern life's craziness, but framed within his Christian faith.
So it wasn't about converting or adopting Judaism wholesale.
No, not at all. It seems it was about drawing wisdom from a long-proven practice to combat contemporary problems and seeing how it could enrich his own Christian faith through its disciplines.
That shows a certain intellectual, maybe spiritual openness, a willingness to learn from other traditions to solve modern issues.
It does. So if you're feeling that constant pull of digital demands, that weight of the always-on schedule, his personal story, the detailed description of his practice in the book, it offers a compelling blueprint.
It's not just theory. It's a lived experience he found so transformative, it became the subject of his final, very personal, and seemingly universally appealing message.
Yeah, it presents a very clear, actionable path, showing that these aren't just abstract ideas, but practical disciplines anyone could potentially integrate into their life, regardless of their starting point or specific beliefs.
Okay, so this is where things get a bit more complex, maybe. moving beyond just his personal practice into the broader implications, especially the theological ones.
Right, because adopting a practice so strongly associated with Judaism within a conservative Christian context, that raises questions.
Exactly. His personal journey, while transformative for him, naturally sparked discussion within his own faith community. How does this ancient practice fit into modern Christian theology?
And he addressed that.
He did. Apparently, he took pains to justify keeping the Sabbath as a Christian commandment. He was aware of concerns about Judaizing.
Which is a term for Christians adopting Jewish customs or laws, and it can be seen as heresy in some conservative Christian groups.
Precisely. It was a major point of debate in early Christianity, and that suspicion lingers in some circles. So Kirk was trying to integrate it, not deviate.
Showing his intent wasn't to abandon his faith or switch to Judaism, but to find a way to bring the wisdom of the Sabbath into his Christian life, addressing those potential theological hurdles.
Yeah, and this connects to his broader use of the term Judeo-Christian values.
A term often used to describe a shared moral foundation between Judaism and Christianity.
Right. He supported Shabbat and Israel through that lens. But some analyses point out that this concept, for some users, can sometimes end up, quote, subsuming Jewish differences into Christianity, kind of simplifying or overlooking the distinct theological aspects of Judaism itself.
So his support for Israel, for example, might have been rooted more in Christian holy sites or prophecy, rather than solely aiming to help Jewish people for their own reasons.
And that's the analysis some sources offer. He was seeking justification within his own framework.
Okay. Which brings us to the wider discussion within Christianity about the Sabbath itself. Because Kirk's book inevitably touches on these ongoing debates.
It does, and there are deeply held, very different interpretations out there.
Like what?
Well, some argue, for instance, that the Sabbath was instituted at creation for mankind, citing Genesis. Therefore, they believe it cannot be edited or changed.
So a foundational command for everyone, not just ancient Israel, and usually meaning Saturday observance.
Often, yes, they see it as an eternal principle. But then there's the significant, widely accepted counter-argument within Christianity,
Which is?
that the Sabbath commandment was changed to weekday 1 in the New Testament, or simply that Christ's resurrection on Sunday shifted the primary day of worship for Christians.
Right. That Sunday sacredness is now well established in Christendom, essentially negating the fourth commandment as it was originally given regarding Saturday.
Exactly. It highlights a major theological split. You have denominations sticking to strict Saturday observance, others viewing Sunday as the key day of rest and worship, some spiritualizing rest to mean any day, or even an internal state.
And some sources even connect this to end times beliefs.
Yeah, some raise the idea that the Sabbath could become the single worship issue of the end time, referring to biblical prophecies about the final days.
How so?
The idea being that worship practices might become a defining test of faith. Some believe there's a movement on multiple fronts to bring Sunday, called Sabbath rest, to the world, ultimately to be legislated. And they see that as having huge implications for religious freedom and future events predicted in Scripture.
Wow. Okay, that's a really complex theological landscape. Centuries of debate, deep interpretations.
It really is. But what's so compelling about Kirk's book, despite all that complexity, is how its fundamental appeal, unplug, recharge, reconnect, seems to cut across those boundaries.
And transcends the specific theological arguments.
It seems to. It invites a much wider audience to explore the discipline of Sabbath rest, regardless of their specific religious beliefs, or even if they have done. That underlying human need for pause, for reflection, for just disconnecting from the digital churn, that feels universal.
Absolutely. The book's strength seems to be taking this practice rooted in deep religious tradition and articulating its practical benefits for modern life in a way that just resonates broadly. You don't necessarily have to buy into Kirk's specific theological justifications to potentially get immense value from his call for intentional disconnection. It offers a framework for anyone just seeking relief from the constant demands of the 21st century.
A structured way to maybe regain some control over your time, your attention.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder that ancient wisdom often holds really profound, practical truths for our struggles today.
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to why stop in the name of God is having such a significant impact right now. Its posthumous success is, well, extraordinary.
We mentioned it topping the Amazon charts before release. But it's not just a momentary blip, is it? Not just collective grief.
Doesn't seem like it. This interest feels sustained.
It feels like more than that. This surge in demand, it isn't just about nostalgia or even a tribute to Kirk. It seems fundamentally driven by curiosity and this deep collective yearning
Yearning for what?
for the very thing the book promises. The book is attracting a really diverse readership, including many people who probably wouldn't typically align with Kirk's politics or maybe don't share his specific faith.
Because the core message isn't inherently partisan.
Exactly. Disconnecting from screens, stepping back from the relentless chase for productivity, reconnecting with community, yourself, maybe something spiritual that speaks to a shared human struggle in our digital age.
The struggle to stay mentally healthy, to build real relationships, to find quiet.
All of it. People are hungry for practical solutions to these modern anxieties, and Kirk's book offers one, a clear, structured one.
Right. Sources are already calling Stop in the Name of God one of the most significant religious and cultural titles anticipated for the year.
That's incredibly high praise.
It is. And it underscores the potential this book has to really shape conversations.
Yeah.
About how we live, how we work, how we find meaning when life feels so saturated. It could become a real touchstone for discussions around digital wellness, spiritual practice, the search for inner peace.
And ultimately, the book really stands as Charlie Kirk's final attempt, doesn't it? To share what he clearly came to believe was one of life's most transformative practices.
Yeah.
It reflects his deeply held conviction, born from his own experience, that regular intentional disconnection could powerfully reconnect people. Reconnect them to faith, to family, to spiritual renewal, the things he believed truly mattered.
It's his parting wisdom, in a way. A profound legacy offered to anyone willing to listen, and maybe more importantly, willing to try this ancient rhythm in their own life.
This whole deep dive makes it pretty clear, I think. This book isn't just another bestseller, it's a compelling invitation. An invitation to reevaluate our basic relationship with the world around us, and maybe even more so, with ourselves.
It challenges us to pause, to breathe,
Mm.
to really consider the power of just stopping.
It promises a real, tangible path to a more balanced life, a less anxious life, a more genuinely connected existence, drawing on this ancient wisdom that feels so relevant, so urgent right now.
A practical guide for anyone seeking refuge from the constant demands, a way to reclaim time, peace, presence.
Yeah.
So, let me leave you with this final thought to chew on. Given Charlie Kirk's incredibly intense public life, his strong, often controversial opinions, and then this deeply personal dedication to a practice of profound rest and spiritual renewal, what might Stop in the Name of God really reveal about that universal human need, the need for pause, in a world that just never seems to stop?
Is it possible the antidote to our collective burnout, our digital overwhelm, has been right there all along, just waiting for us to reclaim it?
Maybe. Perhaps in its pages, coming from such a unique and unexpected voice, you might find the permission and the practical guidance to truly disconnect, to discover what it means to reclaim peace and presence in your own life. We really encourage you to explore this book. Consider how its insights might just transform your own journey.